Okay, this is AC Starlord, aka Austin, and welcome back to my channel. And I just got out of this movie not too long ago. I saw it at 2 o'clock. I know I'm a little bit late, but this movie, I gotta say, it's very weird, different, and unique. It kind of lost me on what to say and what word to use for this movie. I think the YouTube version of the Backrooms is probably more elegant to understanding the lore if you go watch it on YouTube. I'll bring this back up again. We follow up a guy named Clark. He has his own furniture store and he's severely depressed. He drinks at the end of the day. He had a wife, Barbara, that doesn't want him, kicked him out of his own house. And then you notice that by his therapist. His therapist plays role playing with him as his wife and all that stuff. And I thought that was a little bit weird for a therapy session or exercise, nonetheless. A um, very weird concept on that. Because it's not something that I went through therapy. That's not something that my therapist went through to let's play role play of your ex-girlfriend and see what happens. No, it's that was just weird. You know what I mean? Just for example, that was never thought of in that. And it's just my therapist gave me advice and she did kinda in this movie, but like it was just a weird thing to see that. And then he's still in this furniture store and weird things are happening and he discovers a wall. And he goes right through the wall and you see him in the back rooms like you see me in this virtual virtual um background. And the back rooms, yes, is a kind of like an office with no one in it, and it goes on and on and it was kind of interesting to see it go on and on and on. Now, I can understand if you knew the lore on this on YouTube and you watched it on YouTube. And the director's 20 years old. I'm vouch for that. And he's from YouTube and also with that same thing. The guy who did a session is also from YouTube. And so is Chris Stuckman. I'm glad that they're getting their spaces to do their movies from their movies in Hollywood, the Hollywood space instead of online and all that stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know if it's because I woke up early, just like I normally do for work, but I fell asleep like not. I didn't fall asleep like I fall asleep the whole movie, but there's some parts in it I almost fell asleep. The first time you see Clark exploring the back rooms, it's kind of a little bit boring. It's just him going through different rooms and going, "The hell is this?" or "What the f is this?" Da da da. It's And it's great if you understand the lore from the YouTube thing, but if you understood the lore from YouTube and you watched the one on YouTube and you understood it and you watch this one, then it will be so boring to you. You'll be like, this is all new take on this. But for me, it's not an all new take. I mean, for me, it's an all new take, but for me, it's kind of boring. It was just like we're walking through a room, walking through a room, walking through a room, walking through a room, walking through a room. I know the room changes and changes every single time, and it remembers your memories and it changes. That's a cool concept. Thought that was a cool concept. But like, I think Clark and his psyche just like being there, and he just stayed there because later on you get the therapist to go in to the back rooms, but even the therapist was going through her own things with her past of her mom being in a uh, a psych uh, s- a psych ward hospital for her mother and as a young child, and then her mom being crazy and having her house just look just like some of the back rooms, and it kind of felt familiar for her, kind of in a way. And then she was struggling with her selling her book and stuff like that. So she had her own things in her personal life, and then she goes into this, and she sees weird rooms and stuff like that. And then Clark brings his employees in there, and the employees die and get killed. And then Clark's the only one who survives, and then Clark dies from a pirate version of himself of these creatures. And then the creatures also look exactly one looks like exactly like his ex-wife and stuff like that. And then there's a dinner scene with the therapist, and they do the role playing thing again. And then he says, "You can eat these people," and it was just a weird. It got weird to when it got to the dinner scene, but it was weird already. I think this is more weirder than A24 is known for. Like I know A24's horror movies are weird, but for Atomic Monster and A24, this is past their weirdness. This is past their level of weirdness. This movie goes way above their level of weirdness. Maybe this movie's not for me. I went to go check it out, and maybe it's not for me. I was excited to go see it. It doesn't mean I wasn't excited. Don't get me wrong. It was exciting to see this actually be made because you can tell that this was all on sound. You can tell that, I mean, right now, this is a virtual background, so you can get a picture online of this image and be like, oh, I'm in the back rooms. But you can tell that the 20-year-old was involved from his web series from the web series version of this. And more he's involved directing it, but also involved in how the set looked because you can totally tell this was on a soundstage because every time that it would the back rooms would change from when the therapist was in there or when he was in there, it changed throughout and you had different levels of different rooms and different things that have different things. Different rooms have different things in it. Furniture all over the place. One looked like a tile floor with water, with some water, and different things like that. It changed, and I like the practical effect, a practical, not effect, but practical like sets, and that's what kind of amazed me was the practical sets that they're actually in the back rooms. They weren't like green screening it back there. Like it wasn't a green screen like I am right now. It was a theatrical. It was actually theatrical sets that they're on, and that's exciting. But I don't think this movie is going to be ever be rewatched by me. And if I do rewatch it, it'd probably be just on a streaming service, and then like for a Halloween movie marathon and revisit it. Um, I didn't find the creatures too scary. I think the more of the web series or the pictures of it or the video game they made of this, the creatures are more scary. Just the pirate version of Clark looked just like Clark but retarded, and it wasn't really like scary to me. Um, Even when he ate him, it wasn't that scary. I mean, for the therapist it was, but for me it wasn't that scary. And then you had that guy in there that was watching them from afar, and his company makes MRI machines. They used to, but now they go in there to investigate and see what's going on and see how doors open up and how things are changing. And while that's happening, the therapist is imagining what it looks like, and then everything changes in the back rooms, and then she has her own weird creature version of herself towards the end. The fact that they have a scientist that goes in there every single day, and then they used to do MRI machines, and then they go in there constantly to see what things are changing. Why don't you just tell that to the people that walk in there? Why don't you greet yourself and tell the people that walk in there, hey, this is what's going to happen? And if you stay here too long, you might go insane like Clark did. Clark went insane. That's how the therapist went there because he gave him a call and said, I gave her a call and said, I have opened up my window because she had a monologue on tapes for like her book and for her clients that, motivational speaking and what change your mind and help you change your mindset. Now that's what therapists are supposed to do, but this therapist was like, you can tell that her life is pretty boring. She has nobody around her or no boyfriend or anything like that. She lost her mother, stuff like that. Most therapists, the therapist I first started off with, yeah, she had the kids, husband, everything, showed me Hamilton, all the stuff, talked to me about seeing it, watching that, Hamilton and different other things, and helped me with a lot of different things. So therapists are really good, but for this movie, exploring a little bit of psyche, yeah, no one could help Clark. She couldn't even help Clark. That was just his mind already went wacky do. And also the other weird thing is when he, the therapist was playing role play with Clark as she would be the wife and he will be himself and go through, oh, this is my house, I pay for it. I went paid for you to go through college and I need help and blah blah blah. And I was getting help, and then the therapist said, like, you know why the wife left? Because you're whining, and that's also true. Some girls don't like men that whine and they leave. Doesn't matter if you're married, boyfriend or girlfriend, even just friends. If you whine too much and blame everything else on the world and other things besides yourself, yeah, people, girlfriends and friends that are guys are going to leave. This is a common thing. And honestly, it happens more than you think it does. But having Clark in the back rooms and having a psyche go a little bit crazy, that just showed the therapist that, oh, I can't help you anymore. You're getting crazy. I don't know what to do. Can I leave because you tied me up and had me a hostage and I'm just trying to get out of here. That kind of stuff in there was kind of interesting, but like, how does it fit the narrative of this horror movie? And I didn't really see that as a horror movie. I saw it as I mean, it's a horror movie, but I didn't really see it as a horror movie. I saw it as like, this is a weird movie, and why am I watching this? It's intriguing, yes, but why am I watching this? It's pretty weird. This is the first time I have to say that I normally watch weird horror movies like this, and this is the first time I have to say that this one was just a little bit too weird. I mean, you got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Part One and Part Two, Neverland, Peter Pan, Neverland. You got Bammy's Reckoning. You get a whole bunch of these different things. Another good dog, I mean, good boy. That's a point of view from a horror movie a point of view of a dog. Have a lot of different horror movies out there. A toy monkey that it winds up at things happen to you. A lot of weird things, but this is just outside of that realm. I can see why this movie made so much money for the actual fans of this, but I'd rather have a session put over this or scary movie or Disclosure Day or He-Man, something like that over this movie. This movie's at the bottom list of my list now of horror movies because it was not that entertaining and it wasn't that fun. Choice in the day. It might have been fun if you were a fan of it, but I think it's just a little bit weird and some of it was kind of boring. But if you like it, I suggest you go see it. And if you are interested in this because you saw it online, go see it. But I gotta say I've never seen the YouTube version, but the YouTube version is probably way better than this because A24 having this and Atomic Monster, they're just doing their best what they can do. And I think A24 and Atomic Monster can do way better than this. So way better. So if you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe. If you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell, and deuces. Deuces.